Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. Today we are going to do, I hate the word glow up, you know? There's something about it that's very like, for me personally, it's like demeaning. Like it feels like you're saying like who you are before your glow up is someone not worth being. So I hate using the word glow up, but I kind of just want to step up my game today. I want to put some makeup on and just feel really spicy, hot, gorgeous, beautiful. Not that I need makeup to do that, but that's just how I'm feeling today. So today we're gonna do a bit of a glow up with some makeup products I've been loving recently. Gonna do a very nice colorful eye because I feel like I've been doing a lot of neutrals, which I love, but I've been on TikTok a lot recently and there's just so many people doing so many crazy things with eyeshadow that I want to do that. I'm inspired and I'm going to take that inspiration and harness it into today's video. So that is what we're going to do today. If that is something you're interested in seeing, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm going to start out with priming my eyes like normal, except I am going to do it a different way. I'm going to use the same thing that I always use, my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, but I'm only going to focus it right here because I know that I'm going to be doing a cut crease. So I kind of don't want to layer too many products on my eye. I'm going to be using a P. Louise, so I'm just focusing this MAC paint pot right here where I'm going to put shadows down above like the cut crease, if that makes any sense. I'm not doing my full eye with this primer. I'm gonna see if it makes a difference. I'm gonna try a whole bunch of different techniques today with some things that I have been loving. So this is just one of those things that we're gonna see how it works, and hopefully it helps us in the long run. Okay, so the palette I'm going to use for today is the Mikayla Glamlite palette. I love this palette. Whenever I want to do a colorful look, this is the palette that comes to mind because there's just so many unique colors in here. There's so many unique colors in here. I'm going to start off with this shade right here, which is called Willow, which is one of those very unique shades, and it's a shade that I love so much. It's so pretty and so unlike any color that I've ever used before. I want to start out with a very thin brush first. I just don't know which one. I think I'm going to take this one. This is an Amazon brush. It's a pencil brush, but it's way more stiff than any pencil brush that I own, and it's a lot more pointed. So I feel like it'll be really good to get right in here because the first thing we're going to do is build up the crease and then we're going to go in and cut it. So I'm going to take this brush right here. If you have a pencil brush, you can use that. It'll work just as well. I'm going to go in with Willow and just on the tip, just the tip. Inappropriate. I'm going to focus this right here, keeping my eye open, like on the crease. And I'm not gonna pull it in all the way because I did that with another look and I don't really like the way it came out. Because my eyes are so close together, I like to keep the inner corner pretty light, so I'm not gonna pull this all the way in. Being very light-handed. This is going to be the darkest one that we're gonna use in the crease. So I'm really building it up as much as possible, making it as opaque and as dark as I possibly can. If anything, I'm going to lightly feather this in here. Like that's the furthest I'm going to bring it in. Then I'm going to go in with this Pot 2 shade right here, which is just a purple, or maybe I'll go in with this one. No, I'm going to take Pot 2, the first one that I mentioned, this one right here. I'm going to use a Profusion ES6, the small pointed eyeshadow brush for this shade, and I'm gonna put it right on top of that Willow. And I'm not bringing this up too far because I do want to layer some other colors. I'm gonna take a clean pencil brush and just blend. These shadows blend so well with each other. They like do all the work for you. I'm gonna go in with some more Willow actually just because I want to make sure that I didn't lose it. So I'm just gonna add some more, being a little bit more like loose with my strokes here, just so that everything blends nicely together. Taking that Profusion brush, just blending out in here very lightly, because again, I want to keep this section like more light and not so much have the dark crease shade. Then what I'm gonna do is take this Morphe M433 brush, which is just a soft little blending brush, and I'm gonna take MJ, which is the lightest purple in here, this shade right here, and I'm going to use this to diffuse. Put it on top of that Pot 2 shade and blend out. Ooh, this looks really pretty. Blending all the way up like into the eyebrow. Again, pretty much only keeping it like out out here, not going into the inner corner, bringing it down to where the willow shade is, and then blending up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to switch my brush to this Morphe M506, and I'm going to take that Pot 2 shade, which was our like transition shade, with a bit of a fluffier brush, and I'm going to go right here, just because I want to make sure that I like didn't lose it. That transition shade is super important when it comes to the gradient, so you really want to make sure that you didn't lose it. I'm gonna take Willow on this pencil brush right here. This is a Morphe M431. It's a little bit more like, it's a bigger point. I don't know if you can see, and it's a bit more like forgiving, so it's easier to blend. And I'm going to add some more Willow right here. And I'm using this brush because I want to blend it out a little bit more and like blend it up. And I'm just ever so lightly, like really with the lightest hand, blending up. Gonna go in with some more MJ, which is the lightest purple. It's all about like adding and blending and adding and blending and adding and blending. I know it's so redundant and it's so obvious, but that really is how you get the most gorgeous gradient when it comes to eye looks. So since this is a cut crease eye look, I'm gonna do one eye at a time. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and complete this eye before I do this one. I'm going to take these two P. Louise bases right here and mix them together. This is in the shade Hint of Mint, and then this is in the shade Rumor 01, and I'm just gonna mix them together on my palette over there to get a bit more of a softer green than this one. The shade that I'm going to use on my lid is this shade The Best Color right here, which is a gorgeous, like the best color. It's such a gorgeous color, but I don't want to use just a plain nude like white base. I want to use a bit of a color. I've done this one other time with one of the purple bases and it turned out really well, so I kind of want to do the same thing and try and get a nice colorful P. Louise base rather than a white or like a nude base, because it really helps to amp up the cut crease and the color that we're using on the lid. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on my palette right here. For my cut crease, I'm actually going to take a different brush than I normally use. This is from the Morphe Aerial collection again. This is an A18 and it's less like long and more like, it's less, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a little bit more flat and shorter, which I feel like is going to give me more control when it comes to actually doing the outline of the cut crease. So I'm going to go in with my little concoction that I have here, which is just a nice little minty green. I'm going to coat my brush and then I'm going to go right in. And I'm going to kind of let the brush do all the work for me, since it is a nice like flat brush. Making sure to open my eye. Okay, I feel like I can finally breathe now because the crease has been cut. I'm gonna go in and just add like a little bit more of the base wherever it seems patchy. It doesn't have to be perfect though, remember, because we are gonna put another powder shadow on top of this. I'm gonna take my Anastasia, what is this? Anastasia 18, just to kind of blend out a little bit more, especially out here. I am gonna, of course, clean it up like I normally do, but I just want to press everything in. And while that is still tacky, I am gonna go in with this The Best Color shade right here. And I'm gonna use a flat shader brush, which will be this Morphe M167 right here. Gonna pack it on the brush, and I'm going to set this P. Louise. Gonna take a little detailer brush. This is the Real Techniques accent brush, just to get like right at the edge of the cut crease to make it as clean as I possibly can. This is a great brush to do like detail work with because it's so teeny tiny. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and do my other eye now, and I'll be right back and we can clean this up and do some liner and keep on chugging along with the tutorial. So I'll see you in just a second. Okay, this is the finished look, I think. I kind of want to go in with this Freetown shade right here on the edges of this cut crease. I don't know, I'm afraid, honestly. I'm afraid to do it because I don't want to ruin what I already have, but I am someone who likes a bit more dimension in my eyeshadow just because I have very downturned eyes, and I feel like I kind of want to add some darker shadow to the outer corners of the cut crease, just because it's looking a little flat, but I'm nervous. But what is makeup without high risks? I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take this little angled brush. This is a Sigma E75. I'm gonna take Freetown right here, and I'm gonna focus it at first just on the outer lash line, and then I'm gonna bring it out ever so slightly, following where I cleaned up the outer corner with this blue Freetown shade. I can always go in and clean it up again. Okay, I like the way that that looks. I'm gonna take this Sigma E45 like pointed blending brush with a little bit of that Freetown shade, and I'm going to start to blend inward. I honestly don't know if I've ever used this brush before. Just the rest of them are all dirty, so I have literally no other brush to use. Loving the way it looks. I'm making sure to keep my eye open so that I know how it's gonna look once my eye is open. Sounds redundant, I know, but just trust me. And I'm blending only like halfway in. I'm so happy. That looks 10 times better than it did before. 10 times better than it did before. The hard part is going to be replicating it on this side because this is my bad eye. Okay, so this is the final look for the eyes. It's really giving Buzz Lightyear. Honestly, like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting for this, but I don't hate it. I'm not gonna line with liquid liner up here just because I'm actually gonna take, you'll see what I'm gonna do with the lashes, but I'm not going to do liner because I feel like it'll take away from the eye look. I am going to tight line though with this Make It Forever Artist Color Pencil in whatever black, just because I feel like it's going to help when I do my false lashes. I hate doing this, but it makes the biggest difference. I'm going to curl my lashes and put some mascara on. I feel like I can finally breathe now that the eyes are done. That was definitely going to be the hardest part of this makeup tutorial, so I feel like I can just like have a sigh of relief. All right, moving on. We're gonna move on to face, and I'm gonna start with concealer. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. I use this all the time. It's in the shade 215. I'm gonna go in with this first. My face is already primed. I primed it a while ago because I use the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, and I like to apply it before I even do my eyes so that it has time to like settle into the skin and do all the good things it's supposed to do. So I'm just gonna go right in with the concealer, using quite a bit. Once you have that on under your eyes, you can go in with a tapered brush like this. This is just again from that same Amazon set of brushes, and I'm going to pat this in. I like to use brushes when it comes to this technique because none of the pigment gets lost when you use a brush for a concealer, whereas like a sponge is going to soak up a lot of the product. With a brush, you know, you're just really pressing it into the skin. Then once that is all blended out, we're gonna go in with foundation. Foundation that I've been loving that I haven't really been using on camera all that much is this Glamlite Hard Candy foundation. I'm gonna use this in a different way than I have before. I'm actually gonna put it on the palette that I used for my P. Louise, same palette, just the other side. It comes with a doe foot applicator, but I want to try it a different way because I feel like it's going to apply better. So I'm going to just like apply it to the palette and then go in with a sponge just because I feel like it's going to make a difference and I want to try it out. I'm going to take my e.l.f. sponge. I'm just going to take it off here, off the palette, and apply it as I normally would. The reason I want to do it this way is just because I want a bit of a different finish. I want it to be a bit more skin-like, and I feel like when I put it on a palette and then put it on, you know, the sponge and then onto my skin, it looks different than if I like swipe it on. I have a little bit more control over the product and how much I'm putting on my face because I don't want a lot. Even though this is a great high coverage foundation that you should definitely check out if you like full coverage foundations. Yeah, see, I like the way that that looks. And I used so much less product. Like I used so like barely any at all. So definitely is a good technique to try out if you love a foundation but you want to change the way it performs. Okay, next thing I'm going to go in with is this Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer in the shade Amber. I feel like this is just a pan version of the matchstick that I have. It's a very cool toned cream contour, and I'm going to take my favorite brush to contour with, which is my Luxie 512 brush, and I'm going to apply some right above the natural hollow of my cheek. Pressing, not so much blending. If anything, I'm going to blend up. Ooh, that's pretty. Always forget that I have this. Yeah, you see how this can go gray very quickly? Like on camera it looks good, but in person it looks like a stripe of gray. And I feel like that's because my foundation is very warm. I'm also trying to be light-handed with this because I don't want to wipe away like any foundation that I have on my face. Sometimes that does happen. Just gonna go over with my sponge. All right, moving on, I'm gonna take this Rare Beauty concealer right here. This is in the shade 170W. This is very light, and I'm gonna use this very strategically, like in the corners of my eyes and down the center of my face, just to brighten up. A very minimal amount because it's easy to blend, so you don't need a lot. I'm gonna take that brush that I used, this one right here, and just blend and pat and blend and pat and blend and pat everything. This is really gonna help to open the eye and make you look a lot less sleepy. See, look at that. I've been loving this 2 concealer routine because it just looks better on my skin. You know, it just looks good versus foundation and then a whole bunch of concealer on top of that foundation. Okay, I'm gonna set because I'm looking very shiny using the One Size setting powder. You know the drill. I don't even have to talk about it because you know the drill. I use it all the time. Favorite powder in the world. Nothing can compete with this. Nothing. Taking a little powder puff from Amazon right here. Gonna go under the eyes. Not being shy with this powder. I never am, just because you can never really go overboard with it. It's always gonna look good. I'm also gonna go on my forehead. Shoes looking mighty shiny. And then I'm gonna go down here and down the center of my face where I put that Rare Beauty powder. Concealer, not powder. That cream contour definitely looks a lot less gray, which I'm happy about. Moving on, we're gonna go in with some other powders. I'm gonna take this Fenty Beauty again. This is the Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Shady Biz. Gonna take it on my Morphe M530. Thought I said 503. I do that all the time. I always mess it up. This is a favorite brush of mine, but it sheds like crazy, so be mindful if you're gonna pick it up. And I'm just gonna focus this above where I put the cream contour, just to warm up the face a little bit and give it some more dimension. I love bronzer so much, and I love this bronzer especially because it's so stunning. But I feel like bronzer is one step of makeup where I feel like a look starts to come together, you know? Because now I feel like the face is coming together, whereas before I was a little concerned. Now the face is starting to come together. We're gonna go in with blush. I'm gonna take this Roxy Makeup Revolution palette. Use this all the time. This is a fantastic palette. Definitely worth the money you spend on it. And I'm gonna take this like very nude pink blush right here on this little angled fluffy brush that I got from Profusion, and I'm going to just put it back here. I want a very neutral blush that's not going to take away from the eyeshadow. I feel like this is a good blush to use. Okay, I'm gonna do the lower lash line right now before I go off camera and do my lashes and brows. So we're gonna go hop back into this Mikayla Glamlite palette. I'm gonna take Freetown right here, which is the blue that we used in the outer corner of the cut crease, and I'm gonna use this Morphe Ariel A19 brush. This is just a nice flat, stiff brush to use. I'm gonna push it in just down here, just kind of connecting it to like the outer corner over here. And then what I'm gonna do is take a little like stiffer fluffy brush right here. This is again Morphe Ariel A29, and I'm gonna use this MJ shade, which was the lightest purple that we used, this one right here, and I'm gonna use that to blend out the Freetown color that we put on the lower lash line, just to kind of use both, you know, the cut crease and the crease shades on the lower lash line and kind of use them both together, you know, get the best of both worlds, as a great young Hannah Montana once said. And then I'm going to take some mascara. Again, same mascara, nothing new. Some on my lower lashes. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to do my brows and my lashes. And then I'm going to come back and we can do a nice nude lip with this look. So I will see you in just a second. Alright, so we are now finally at the final stages of this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and do my lips really quick. I'm going to speed through this process. I'll leave a link to a video of a more in-depth lip tutorial tutorial if that is something you want to see. I'm first going to start with my MAC Strip Down Lip Liner, and then I'm going to go in with this MUA Makeup Academy matte lipstick in the shade Bonafide, and then I'm going to lip contour with this Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Endless Cacao, and then I'm going to add a bit of this NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee. Okay, so I did, kind of fix my hair a little bit and add some earrings. I don't normally wear really any jewelry except for like my crystals right here, just because I feel like jewelry doesn't really compliment me all that well. I don't like the way that I look in it. I feel like it looks good on everyone except me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm not used to seeing myself in it, but decided to spice up the look a little bit more with some jewelry. But we are going to do the final step that I always do for all of my tutorials, which is just to bring back my little birthmark right here. I'm gonna take my one size gel liner pencil in the shade Brown, and we are back in action. So you guys, this is the final look. I love the way it came out. If you take anything from this video, the one thing that I want you to take away is don't be afraid to take risks when it comes to makeup. There were so many risks that I took with this makeup look, but that is the beauty and the fun of makeup, is that it's like high risk, high reward. So yeah, it might look a little weird, it might not be the way you want it to be, but then for next time not to do it. But if it works out well, it works out well, and your makeup will look 10 times better than it normally did. So if you have not already, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you hit the little bell so that you are always notified when I upload a new video. You can see more of these fun high risk, high reward tutorials. And I think that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I hope that I don't have lipstick in my teeth, because that would suck. But that is all for today, and I will see you all in my next one.